do on this project. I don't know if I want to straight up warm up with an algorithms thing. Also, these lights are terrible. I wish I could control this better, but maybe I can't. So, no wait, I can. I have this. This thing should work. There we go. That's so weird though. Like it doesn't even know what color it is. Can't figure out if that color is good or bad. Let me hold on. Part of my problem here with my lights trying to figure out for my stream is like none of these computer monitors have good color on them, and so I'm looking at myself on these screens trying to figure out if the color's right, and I have no way of knowing. So let's take a look and see. I mean, a little bit. Probably white's the best. Yeah. Something like that might be better. Give a little bit more color to things. Yeah, I don't know. I still look like a ghost. But whatever. It's all good. So, make it a little bit brighter. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I don't know. So anyways, let's look at what we got here. I have a couple bugs. Adding more levels. I wanted to add a slime animation at some point. More tile sets. Decide on the item shop. I think we decided not to do that. More sounds. Enemy death sounds. Menu sounds would be really good. Make player death sounds. Make projectile collision sounds. Okay, so well, today is Sunday, which means we can take these four things that we did, move them into here. Move these things over to here. Okay. Input designator switches when other input changes players. What does that mean? When the keyboard changes to player 2 and locks in, changing the controller's player also changes the locked in keyboard's player. When did I put this in here? June of last year. I have no idea what this means. So let's go reload from disk. Also, let's check real quick. Yeah, this seems clean. Okay, so what I'm gonna start off with is, okay, I have my gamepad here. we figured out that Bluetooth is annoying to set up on this computer, which is fine because also switching my Bluetooth input back and forth was also a pain in the butt. Oh wait, is it this cable? Oh, it is this cable. Oh right, because I used it from the other mouse. I gotcha. I gotcha. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Okay. Cool. So this is plugged in. So I don't know what that means. So we're gonna do some tests. My controller's not on. That's why. So I think what it was saying, if I lock in here and then switch, yeah, look at that. That does happen. Okay. If I lock in here, interesting. So why would that happen? Why would that happen? Um, I don't know. Let's take a look at this bug. This is an interesting one. So input designator. I don't remember how this works, so this is going to be fun to take a look at. Okay, so we have these player columns. We have ready players, input handler. Okay, yes, that's how I'm handling the actual input. Left action, right action. Right input devices is this other class that I made called input devices. Cycle previous, and for the device ID, cycle next for the device ID. And then, so there's a couple of different things here. On accept action. Let's see. So there could be a bug in either accepting it, or there could be a bug in the cycling of this thing, or there could be a bug in the display of what's going on, and everything could be right under the hood. So maybe what we should try doing is to see what actually happens, right? If I run this and we go like this, and I lock that in, and then I go like this. Oh, wait, is that what I think happened? So I go like this. Now, keyboard's player 2, this is player 1, and then I try to switch this one. It moves the keyboard instead of moving the gamepad. And then when I press it again, it now moves the gamepad. Okay. So let's go like this. Let's go like this. And let's see what happens. Okay, so it's correct. Under the hood, it's done the right mapping, but the UI is not updating correctly. Seems to be the issue. So that's good to know. So that means the bug's probably not in input devices. The bug's probably in whatever's responsible for showing the update gamepad count or column. Show needed columns. Maybe this is the bugs in here. Show needed columns. So we hide all columns. Oh, show needed columns. Okay, well, let's see. For column and player columns, update gamepad count. It might have to do with this. What is this doing? For I in range of 1 to gamepad labels. Oh. That could be the issue. Why is it between 1 and gamepad labels? I have an idea of why. So let's check this out. Let's go player column. Right? And let's look at this. We have a keyboard label and gamepad label. And that's how this works. So that might be why it's in range of 1 to something, because we probably dynamically create these, is my guess. Remove gamepad. Gamepad labels. What is gamepad labels? Yeah, probably has something to do with the way I'm doing this. So this is what, a VBox container? That makes sense. So we probably want these all to be childed under the same thing. But then we have this weird thing. We're probably doing some weird state management here. That's not working out for us. So we have gamepad labels. Update gamepad, var gamepad label equals gamepad label subscript gamepad number. Visible is equal to gamepad number greater than or equal to 0. Oh. Update gamepad. Update gamepad. Oh. Oh, here we go though. Show needed columns. It isn't in under show needed for ID in input devices.list. Player number is get player ID is locked in ready player keys. That's fine. Player columns subscript player number dot update gamepad ID is locked in input devices dot list. This could even be the bug in input devices dot list, depending on what that returns to us. Player columns dot visible equals true. Right, because this hides all the columns. Update gamepad. Right, and then it shows all the columns again. I think this just goes through all columns, hides everything. Assuming we always have a keyboard, make sure that player 1 and player 2 are always visible. So it removes the gamepad from the first column, then updates the keyboard with a false. I don't know what that means. Oh, jeez. As a keyboard. Oh, okay. Oh. That might be the bug, right? Because that removes the keyboard from everything. Well, that's fine. That returns it to a default state. That just means that as keyboard needs to be updated properly. Oh. And that's probably where the disconnect is. We have this update gamepad and we have this update keyboard as two separate methods. And I'm calling update gamepad here, but I'm not calling update keyboard. Oh, here I am. You know, here I do it. Update keyboard true is locked in. Wait. What? What is this -1 I'm passing in? What? What? What in tarnation? Wait, hold on. Oh, -1. Okay, that's sorry. That's -1 in ready players that keys. That's ready players dot keys. Player columns keyboard player number. Keyboard player number input devices get player keyboard. So here's where it actually updates the keyboard thing, but it does this after it loops through everything. So we hide everything, then we're showing everything. Input devices dot list. I wonder if, like, what does this return actually? device IDs dot assign. Oh, right. Input devices dot keys. Input devices. Oh, so that includes the keyboard. So that might be the issue. Keyboard label dot visible equals has keyboard. Oh, is locked in. Yeah, no, that makes sense. But wait, what? Oh, okay. So I'm gonna try something. Let's maybe just move this after here. I don't know if it's gonna fix my issue, but no, of course not. No such luck. Okay, of course not. So that's fine. So we can leave that where it is. However, player columns, keyboard player number, update keyboard true. Show needed columns. Maybe what I do is just set a breakpoint here and step through to see what's going on. That's not, I don't think it's going to be in, oopsie daisy. Player column. I don't think it's going to be in here. I think it's going to be an input designator. So let's go through here and show needed columns. And what we're going to do is input devices. So the backing data is right. It's just the way that we're updating these columns is a bit weird. Something with the keyboard is out of sync from here. It could be. I thought it might be from this, right? Because what's in input devices.list? If this duplicates keyboard, then player number, update gamepad, ID. I don't know if that would affect that. Like, what we might want to do or have to do is instead of having these as two separate functions, these might need to get consolidated, right? It should maybe just be update input. But update keyboard specifically goes for the keyboard label versus the other one figures out which gamepad label is the right one. But I would think, why is this yellow, by the way? Oh, because it shadows this. Do we use this anywhere? Gamepad label.duplicate. We do. That's fine, but we don't use it in any of the other ones. Right. Update gamepad count. That happens when there's a joystick connected. Right. Which I think goes through here. Okay. But let's see real quick. What was I gonna do? We were gonna step through to see in the input designator. I set a breakpoint, right? Did I delete that breakpoint? No, I didn't set the breakpoint. Okay. We'll go through here and step through, see what's funking this up. So we have keyboard player number is null. Oh, I forgot what the keys are for this. Into is 11, over is 10. I think that's all I need, right? Into and over. Continue is F12. Over 10, into 11. Okay. So now it should be like 0. Yeah. Player columns, keyboard player number 0. Right, dot update keyboard. We could go into it here. Okay, has keyboard is true, is locked in is false. That's right. And that's fine. So over. Now for ID in input devices.list, if I step over, does it go into the loop? Yeah, okay, cool. ID should be -1. Yeah, that's my keyboard. Right? Get player ID is locked in. So that is kind of an issue. Right? Maybe. I don't know. Because we're going to update gamepad. But how does that work? If I go into here, gamepad label, gamepad number is -1. How does that work? Oh, that actually is the bug, isn't it? I can do negative index in my array, can I? So instead of getting index out of bounds, it's giving me an actual... Yeah, that might be it. On the other hand, if I clean up this API, I don't necessarily... So I think what's happening is I made a special case for this, but I don't think my special case is actually needed, right? So I think what I can do here is change my update gamepad function, right? So I have these gamepad labels, remove gamepad. I can probably remove this, and I could probably do everything through here. But so like the quickest thing to do to test to see if this is the problem, I mean, we can keep going through. That's my guess. So then what is this? How do I actually look at this? Update label. It's going to tell me it's the gamepad label, right? Gamepad 2. What? That is whack. Wait, hold on. Let's go to remote. Label 18. Yeah. Keyboard label, gamepad label 0, label 18. What in the hecky? Becky. Okay, wait. Oh, but still doesn't make it visible unless it's greater than or equal to 0. But there is one here that's actually being created. This is also a bug. Right? So what's happening actually is we're in a new count. New count. We're adding gamepad that should not be added, actually. Right? So let's go here. Right? Let's turn everything on and go back to my scene. Let's go here and do this. And go back. Yeah. See, that's wacky. There's only one gamepad. Okay, so there's a couple bugs here. This is good. Because now we're starting to see what's going on. So what's going on here that's weird? Right? There's a couple things going on that's weird here. So you got we didn't know this was happening, but oops. But what was happening was that doesn't work. I don't have a screenshot key, do I? That is whack. Screenshot. We can, yeah, accept, and then what is the purpose of this thing? Options, include mouse pointer, edit. Oh, that's interesting. Can I change the color of that? Oh, my mouse just disappeared. That's not cool. Where did my mouse go? Ah. I don't know what happened. I don't know what computer screen my mouse is on. Here we go. Let's fix all the things. That comes back here so we can see chat. Also, I don't know why this didn't change my chat back. This comes back up. Then we go back here. I think what happened was, yeah, there we go. Okay. Make it a box. Oh, all these tools have individual colors. Oh, I see. Stroke. Just double that. Alright, so this is part of the problem. We can copy this, throw this into my notes. There's an off by one, creating an extra gamepad by mistake. Alright, so we're gonna have this extra gamepad. Right, and then 2 is the input devices. This is returning keyboard, and we're trying to access it as a gamepad label. So if we look at this, wow, go back. Right. Also, I think I got a message here. Hmm. right? So let's go and bring in some of this crap. Right, so I guess, and if I hit like new screenshot. Oh, that's cool. Not here though. Can I go to, no, I can't. I guess I have to go here. And then here. And then hit new screenshot. Yeah, uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Where's the context for this player? Margin input designator. That's enough context. Accept. We can do the same thing. Edit. I just want to, not that I care to mark this up so much, but I kind of want to learn how to use this tool a little bit, get comfortable with where all the buttons are, so I can use it again. Extra label hierarchy. Node tree. All right, and then this can go there. So this now is when we're, ooh, there we go. Where's the code that I'm looking for? All right, we'll go to my notes and then chuck this in here. And we'll say input devices dot list includes keyboard. But obviously we don't do anything special case this. And then in update gamepad, right, we go so yeah, and update gamepad. Where's my notes? Gamepad labels subscript -1 is the extra gamepad 2 label. All right, make this a little bit bigger. Keyboard device, the keyboard gamepad number works as an index in our array to get the last item in our gamepad labels array. Is the last item in the array. Instead of crashing, right? Instead of saying index out of bounds, that's what's happening. All right, I think it's pretty good. So now we know why this is happening. I think what we can do here is maybe consolidate some things, change some things. So what I'm thinking is update keyboard goes away. Is there any reason to have this as a special case? Is locked in This is the same. This evaluates the same, -1 in here. This is exactly the same. Keyboard player number. Update keyboard. Now what I'm trying to figure out is, oh, here's the problem. Here's the problem. This function is only updating, this instruction is only updating the keyboard player column with the keyboard stuff. Right? It's not. I think this just gets deleted because I think this gets deleted, and update gamepad needs to be renamed to update input, I think. Let's see, update keyboard. This has the effect of hiding the keyboard though. Because the other one calls .remove gamepad. Hide all columns. What does remove gamepad do? Removes all gamepads. So it says remove gamepad, but it actually removes all of them. Oh, but it doesn't actually remove any of them, it just hides them. Right. Which could also be a bug. Player columns.slice1. The heck? .slice1. Column.hide, remove gamepad, hide keyboard. I kind of want to rip a lot of this out and just have everything being handled in a more generic way. Instead of having these special update keyboard functions. Like update keyboard. Oh, I see. Why? Wait. But why is this special case? Wait, hold on a sec. Does this really need to happen? Oh, column.hide. That is the difference. That's the difference. I see. I see. This is trying to keep this column alive. That's a little confusing. So I think what I have to do here is go like this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's so many things here. Okay, let's not go crazy because I'm not going to be able to figure out what actually fixed the issue. Let's try to keep my diff as clean as possible. So what I'm going to do here is try to make this more generic to where I don't have to call update keyboard. I think that's the change I'm going to be looking to do in here. Like here, right? Update keyboard. So we say update gamepad. I think for now, like a quick, easy, generic thing is if gamepad number is -1. Update keyboard. I think that's the easiest way to do that. That might just fix it. Pretty sure I hit run. There we go. So move this over, lock this in. Oop. Damn it. No, I was wrong. Okay. So much for being smart. So much for knowing what's going on in my code here. On the other hand, I did delete some code and we still have the same result. So let's go back to update gamepad. No. Wait, hold on. I thought I had a breakpoint set here. Oh, because I deleted it. I deleted that line of code. It's very smart. Very smart of the editor to remove my breakpoint when the code changed. Okay, so now we know this list includes keyboards, right? So player number, so ID is -1, which is keyboard. So player number is going to be 0, right? Is locked is going to be false, right? Player number 0, update gamepad. Oh, this actually also causes a bug though, because what's happening here is right. No, this is fine because it's going by input. It's going by input. So it'll do the keyboard first, then the next iteration of the loop will handle the gamepad, right? So now it's going to go into here. It's going to go, oh, look, gamepad is -1. We're going to go into update keyboard, and then it has keyboard is going to be true because we're hard coding it to true. And then we're not locked in, so we're not going to do that. Okay, fine. We come back and then we return and we go to the next iteration of the loop. ID is now 0, right? And then player is going to be 0 again. Locked in is going to be false again. Update gamepad with a device of 0. So we go into here. We're going to skip that block. Then we're going to say gamepad labels, specific gamepad number is going to be 0. So now we're not going to be doing any weird stuff over there. I also want to see, yeah, this label still exists for some reason and it should not, which I think I know why that's also happening. I think we're just calling the create method an extra time when we don't need to. That's an off by 1. I need to be counting the original one, and I think that's why we're having issues there. Gamepad numbers greater than or equal to 0. That is true. We're not going to lock in. That's true. And then here, to do replace with constant. Okay, sure. If gamepad, always show player 2 when devices are connected. I think that's a bug too. I think that should be when devices is greater than 1. Right? Because if I have 3 devices and it might make one of the columns disappear, right? I think that's also a bug. Man, this thing is so buggy. Okay, that's fine. I don't see anything wrong with that actually. So why is this happening? Let's remove this breakpoint for a sec. So this works fine. Oh gosh. So this works fine. This works fine. The problem is when they're locked in, right? When I confirm this player, then I start moving this one. For some reason, the player 2 column removes the keyboard. The player 1 column has it. I can't stop sneezing. The sun came up. I had a feeling that was why, but that makes no sense because I'm not even looking at the sun. Let me get some protein. I'll be right back. All right. Okay. I'm back. Might actually have to eat real food soon too, which is a problem. But let's take a look. Okay. Cycle previous for device ID. Cycle next. Show needed columns. Hmm. Okay, let's trace through and see what actually happens. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, because I'm paused right now, right? No. How come I can't do anything? Whatever. Just rerun it. Um, there we go. Then, the second I do this, let's trace through. So you've got player number 0. Oh, for ID. Oh, ID is 0 now. mm. Oh, the list might be showing them in player order, right? And update gamepad 0 false, which is true, by the way. Makes that column true. Now this should be -1. It is. Now maybe this is what's screwing up. Maybe get player ID -1 is not working. That would also be a potential problem for this. Yes, current value is 0. That's the issue. Get player for -1 is not working the way it should. Is locked in is true. But now it's going to update the wrong column. So get player ID is where the bug is. Or sorry, get player device ID. If device ID in keyboard devices, else keyboard. Wait, what? Wait, what? I think that's fundamentally wrong. Input devices has the keyboard in it. Oh. Hmm. Input devices, else keyboard. Does that mean that... I think I understand why I did that. I don't think that should be there, though. I think this is protecting against a case where input devices does not have a player device ID. Right, if it doesn't have this device ID in it, that does make sense. We should have a default that it returns something. Get player. But that should probably return, oh, -1, which is what keyboard is equal to. But that's not, it's a bad constant to use for that. It should be -1. But, so the problem here is why is get player returning that? Right? So what we got to do is step into here on the next run. So let's run it again. Right? Makes sense. Okay. And what we're going to do here is, I meant to continue. Go here. That's fine. Right. And then we're going to say lock in. Yeah, that gets called every time, huh? So that's also weird because the state of everything here is fine, right? It's when I go like this. So actually the problem might be in my cycle method, right? That actually might be the issue. Let's go into here and let's look at input devices. Aha. Yes. So the bug might actually be in cycle, but that makes no sense. Because these are actually both pointing to player 0. Okay. So even though everything was functionally correct, this still isn't right. So there's still a bug here. Cycle previous and cycle next. There's probably a bug in these functions. So that's what we're going to have to look at. Now where is that? You're at right here on UI action right. Right there is where we're gonna want our thing. Okay, cool. Gonna go like this, and we're gonna go into here. Step in. Input devices for device ID plus equals 1. Device ID should be -1. It is. Let's take a look at input devices. Right, good. So we add 1 to that. And then what the heck is this doing? Oh, I see. This is looping us back around. Device count. Oh. Why is device count 0? Because that is right. Here, that's right. And then it's going to bump it back down. No. Oh, greater than device count -1. Because device count doesn't count the keyboard for some reason. Right. Yeah, that is kind of weird. Why does device count not? Oh, input devices dot size. Which doesn't make sense. It really should count the keyboard. But that's okay. Remove player gaps. Scans through all player numbers and assigns devices sequentially to avoid gaps in player numbering. Right. Which I don't even know if that's needed with the checks that I have here, but that's okay. So that's fine. Then we say lock in. And now I'm going to go hit right over here and see what happens. Oh, son of a gun. Okay. Device ID should be oh, it's not available. Okay, that's fine. We can go into so, and then we've got this is 0, that's 1. Device ID here should be 0. And then this should set 0 to 1, which it does. And then remove gaps, unless there's a bug in remove gaps. Which is possible because that's a very quirky thing, and it does reassign input devices at the end of this. No, that looks good. And then we can show needed columns. And we have input devices. Whoa. Hold the phone. What in the heck happened? My input devices just got clobbered. How did that happen? Magic. Okay, so that's the bug. Somehow my input devices are getting changed. All right, so we go into my cycle function. Ugh, I hate how it's so easy to type in here. Right, so this is right. That's the right backing information that we want. And then here, what's new input devices look like? Maybe that's the bug. No, that replaces the old one with basically the same thing as the new one. Right? And then input devices here is the right thing. Show needed columns. Right? And then this will turn out right. The problem only happens when I cycle the player number from a gamepad after. Why? So that's 0. So then we set 0 to +1. Unless this is the thing that's causing the issue, because this one sets it to 0. But I don't think that's the issue. Yeah, doesn't go in there. So now this is 1, 1. This is right. Then we remove player gaps. I'll skip to the bottom here. Ah, that's the issue. Remove player gaps. Remove player gaps is the issue. But why would there be player gaps? Do I even need this function? Scan through all players and numbers and signs sequentially to avoid gaps in player numbering. New input devices in range of 0 to 4. If player is in number, player numbers to devices. Copy devices. This looks very complicated. I would love to delete this. What's player numbers to devices? Unique player numbers. I think the idea behind this was to make sure you couldn't have like a player 1 and a player 3. But I really just kind of want to delete this. Okay. So that's the issue. Remove player gaps. Like, how about let's just not make player gaps possible in the first place on the UI side. And then I think we solved our problem. My mouse disappeared. There we go. I think that's why. I think because there was a problem at some point where if I kept hitting like right and left, you could create more player columns unintentionally. Oh no, there is still there is still a possibility, right? This is still possible. If you have 3 devices, if you had 2 gamepads and you had, oh, yeah, it is still possible. If you have 2 gamepads and you've got the keyboard, which you always have the keyboard. So if you have 2 gamepads, then we'd have 3 player columns potentially. But if you show all 3 player columns, then you'd have a player 1 and a player 3. Like if no one picked player 2, yeah, you would have a gap. But I think this'll, yeah, that fixes that issue because that's literally where it's coming from. But I'm pretty sure I need that in there because of things. Okay, so let's see what happens in here. Player numbers of devices. Player numbers to devices is a dictionary. Player number equals input device. If not, player number in unique player numbers. Unique player numbers. Subscript player number is an empty array. And then we add. Right. I don't like any of this. I don't like any of this. Is there an easier way to do this? Let's try to figure out how this is working now. We've isolated the bug though at this point. The bug is in this remove gaps method. So we're going to go from player numbers 0 to 4. And we're going to go player numbers in numbers of devices. And then we're going to look at the var devices. We're going to grab all the devices, copy devices to new input devices. Actually, not sure why I'm doing this even. Oh, I do know why I'm doing this. Ah, this is such a pain in the butt, but I get it. So what's happening is if I have like players 1, 2, and 3, and I only have a device assigned to player 1, like keyboard, and then, or let's say I have a gamepad assigned to player 1, and then I have a keyboard and a gamepad assigned to player 3, but there's nothing assigned to player 1. I have a list of devices on the player 3 column, and all of those need to be moved over to device 2. To player 2, sorry. That's a bummer. Player number and player numbers to devices. I don't know what this is checking though. For J in range, player number +1, comma 4. That looks a bit sus. Why aren't we starting at 0? I guess because this loop starts at 0. So we're going, this is like a fast pointer that we're doing from the next one over to the end. Devices equals player numbers to devices, subscript J. And player numbers to devices. What? What? Player numbers to devices is an array. Oh, that might be the bug. Shouldn't it be dot keys? Because that's a dictionary. Player numbers to devices, right? Should have a player number. No, oh, wait, what? Wait, what? Player number. Where does this player number come from? Why is this loop needed? Huh? Oh, if J in player number devices dot keys. Oh, right. But then where does it use J? It gets the devices for that player number. Uh-huh. And it erases J. That might be the solution. I don't know. Let's try it. Nope. Not the solution. This is just a complicated chunk of code. Is there an easier way to do this? Is the question. I think the easiest way to do this. Hold on. Let's look here. So the problem we're trying to solve is what? The problem we're trying to solve is we have something that looks like this. So these are device IDs. Right? This is the problem we're trying to solve. Right? So the problem we're trying to solve is this. Right? We need to look at a couple different cases. There's this one. There's 0. Right? That's another possible use case. Basically, anytime there's a number missing in the values here, we want to ripple these down. I see. So my approach, I think my approach does make sense to invert the dictionary. So what I'm saying is, instead of having a dictionary that maps the device ID to the player number, let's create a dictionary that maps the player number, like player 0, to a list of the devices like -1. Because this is a way that we can go here and that we can find gaps in the list, right? And then 2 would have 0 and 1, right? And that's what that would look like. And then we would go through these keys and okay, and then we would say we actually wouldn't go through these keys. Then we go through the numbers 0 through 4. We go 0, that looks good. Then we go to 1 and we're like, hey, we go in here and we say, hey, there is no 1. So then 1 tries to grab it from the next one, which is 2, and copies this over to 1. So we get this. And then it goes, okay, we don't need this anymore. So it deletes this. And then it would go on to the next one if there was another one. I think that's what the idea of my algorithm here is supposed to be, but that's just not how it works. So what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna step through it instead of trying to rack my brain on this, right? And let's go to input devices. remove gaps, and we'll just go through this line by line. Player numbers to devices. Player numbers to devices. We have 1 and 2. Oh. That's not right. Wait, why is size 2? Oh, well, that's not right. So that's what the issue is. Nailed it. Oh, no, that's right. That is right. Oh. I see what's happening. I get it now. That makes sense. So what's happening? Ah, what a pain in the butt. What's happening is, I get it. It makes sense. So check this out. Here's what's happening. My code is actually working exactly the way it's supposed to. The problem in my code is not the algorithm. It's a little bit in the logic. So when I go like this, now I have keyboard assigned to player 2. When I hit right on my gamepad, I am trying to assign gamepad 1 to player 2, even though it's not locked in yet. And so what's happening is my logic's going, hey, hey, we've now got 2 devices on player 2. However, even though we have 2 devices on player 2, we have 0 devices on player 1, and it's moving everything back to player 1. And that happens when I hit the right arrow key, like that. And that's why it's messed up. So what I need to do here is not move anything until we lock stuff in. Which raises this issue of how should this work? Because if I do, like, I can wait to do that checking instead of removing those duplicates when, or not the duplicates, instead of removing those gaps when we are hovering over which player we want to be, like this, I can remove the gaps once we confirm it with this button. But the problem is once all the players have locked in, it leaves this screen and it doesn't really show you what happened. So 2 things I'm thinking, right? Like if I wait till you press the OK button, the accept button, to do that compression and move those players around, then you're not going to actually see what happened. And it's a little bit confusing, right? But if I do it, if I try to compress the gaps the way it is now, I can't do that, right? Or maybe I just special case it when it's a 2-player situation. I need to really be able to, I need to test this with multiple controllers is what I need to do. It's very complicated. But I could say that when there's only, no, because there's still an issue that if you lock in with 2 players, 2 devices on player 2, you still need a player 1, right? So I think the only solution really, or at least for now, the solution should be instead of removing gaps when we cycle, remove gaps after they confirm. Or it means that the data model's not right. And even though we're cycling these inputs in the storage, we need to, yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's right. Remove player gaps. So what we're going to do, this will kind of fix it. But what we need to do is go to the designator and then locked in on accept action. If is assigned, emit, show needed columns. What I could do is over here, already. So here's where it automatically switches to the main. The other thing I could do to make that less jarring is, in this case, instead of automatically going to the main menu, which is also kind of a problem because it always goes to the main menu. But in any case, instead of going to whatever the next screen should be from here, what we can do is just have it so that you can press a continue button to confirm your selections, to give people a chance to go back and fix something if they made a mistake. Yeah. Is assigned device ID. I think I can just go input devices. Dot remove player gaps and do that here. I think that solves my issue. I think right now I was trying to remove them too soon. Yep. Now if I do it, it'll remove the player gap. Now, oh shit. That didn't work though. Or why? It just kind of ended up with a random behavior. That's not what I said, right? What I said here is that's player 2. And I said this is also player 2. And then somehow I still have a player 1. Because it's not removing the gaps the way it should. I'm pretty sure. Nope, that is very weird. Because that is not what I told you to do. So the remove gaps function might not be working again. Remove player gaps. Let's check it out. All right, so we know this works. All right, we know that works. Player 1 is the keyboard, right? Because it's -1, and player 1 is the controller, and player 2 is the keyboard. Right, that works. We know, makes sense. Now when I go like this and I hit this button, now this is right. Both of them are assigned to player 1, player 2, right? And then when I come to the bottom of this function, oh, they're both assigned to player 0, which is also right. Wait a sec. What is this new input devices? That is right. The compression's working the way it should. right? So that's right. So we're going to replace this one, input devices, with this, which is right. Oh. Is this like a race condition? So when I get player on device ID, device ID 0. Oh, I hit the wrong button. What I think happens is I think this returns the wrong one. Let's see what happens in show needed columns. So first ID is 0. Get player. This will be another chance to see what get player 0 returns. Player number is 0, which is wrong. Oh, that was my chance to dive into the function to see what was happening. Why am I so bad at this? Oh my gosh. Right. So let's see. When did I add this breakpoint? Oh, I think I just accidentally did it. So we go here, pull that over. So this is fine, right? I think the problem is that emit that I was doing, right? And then when I move this over, right? Because this is 1, 1, which is wrong. And then, oh, son of a gun. Oh, here we go. And then we got 0, 0 here as the new one. And we're going to replace those, which is right. The heck? Oh, maybe that breakpoint is what I wanted. Hold on. Wait, what was I trying to check? My brain just collapsed on me. The emit. Where is that emit? That emit is in the designator. That emit happens in the confirm right here. Right. Because we remove the player gaps. Oh, I see. But then we say emit get player, but it still calls out to input devices for this. So input devices, the state should be okay as long as remove player gaps happens before we call get player. Right? That's how I see it. And then we emit. I'm going to step in. So you can look at input devices. That's right. Right, and that's when we do input devices.assign gamepad -1 to player 0 1. Yep, that's right. That's right. Now when I go here and I do this and then I hit this button, 1 1 is not good. So then we tie that to 0 0. Yeah. We tie that to 0 0. I guess this is an issue that comes because I'm allowing players to sign multiple devices to the same player. Right? The better way to do this is to set the validation even sooner to say like, hey, somebody's already selected that player, right? But then I'm allowing people to assign the keyboard to whatever player they want too. And that's why it's a little bit tricky. Oops. Okay. Let me brain dump here. All right, that's a bug. That's a bug. And then source of this bug is from the move player gaps function being called on cycle. Needs to be called only when we lock in, or needs to be or cycle needs to prevent duplicate, prevent multiple inputs from controlling the same player. Earlier input validation. All right, so those are the two strategies. One comes before, the other one comes after. This one probably makes the most sense and is probably the easiest to implement. However, no, I mean, maybe that makes sense. Maybe that makes sense, because then I don't have to remove gaps, right? Is that true? No, I probably still have to remove the gaps. I think the earlier validations probably the easiest way to do that. It prevents the issue from happening in the first place. And then I can still remove gaps where I'm removing them, but my cycling will also have validation. So it won't let you cycle to something that you can't cycle to, something that's already taken. So how would that work? I'd have to skip over the ones that are taken. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably the way to fix this. Okay. I need to eat food though. So what? 8 a.m.? Yeah, I need to eat real food. So I'm going to go. Let's put this in progress, by the way. I'm going to go eat and I'll be back later. We'll actually do. This was kind of an algorithm exercise in itself, but it wasn't an algorithm problem. My algorithm was actually fine. It's just where I'm calling it is an issue. Where I'm using it is a problem, causing a bug. So what I'm gonna do is eat food. This will also help me wake up a bit. We'll come back, and then after we come back, we'll do some probably leak code stuff that I've been putting off for a while that needs to be done. Right? Trying to put this thing up here. Okay. that's that. All right, I will catch you guys later. Well, this wasn't particularly uh, productive, but we did root cause the issue. We do understand why it's happening now, and so I think that's good. We'll fix it later today. And then we'll do some leak code before we do that. So we'll probably do that for like an hour. I'm going to force myself to do that for an hour because I probably won't get much done on that in an hour even. Coming in with zero warm up, right?